Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
How we doing?
Hello, hello.
Hey guys, good evening. How are you?
Excellent, Teresa.
Good.
All right, we'll just wait a couple minutes here and just let some other people pop on and then we will get started. If you guys have any specific MT5 questions, feel free to put them into the chat just so we can make sure that we get them covered over this call. I assume that if you're here, it's because you know that we're doing an MT5 desktop training tonight. That's the focus, the one and only focus of tonight's session. Is there anyone here currently that does not have MT5 desktop downloaded? Okay, everyone so far has MT5. I'm just going to drop the link for it in the chat just in case, just so we have it handy for anyone else that pops on here that maybe doesn't have it yet. Personally, I prefer to download Metatrader 5 directly from Metatrader 5 themselves, not from a broker branded version of Metatrader 5, just to kind of ensure that you're always, I don't know, that it's like an up-to-date version, and so that you can log into different brokers on the same one. And I don't know, to me it just kind of avoids errors. So if you don't already have Metatrader 5 downloaded, I put it into the chat for you guys. You just go to this website, and then you just need to make sure that you download the software version that matches your computer, right? So like if you're on a Windows computer, you need to download the Windows version of MT5, or if you're on an Apple, you need to download the Apple version, etc. Okay. So that is like how you actually get it. Is there anyone on here that has MT5 downloaded, but you have not logged into your account? Like you're not logged into your broker on MT5. It's different than TradingView, right? When we're using TradingView, you can look up different symbols and you can look at charts of different symbols from different brokers. On Metatrader 5, you can only look at the chart from a broker that you're actually logged into. So maybe just give me some thumbs up if everybody on here is already logged in to an account on MT5, or if you need help connecting an account. Okay, perfect. Okay, so if you know how to log into your account, then what about switching between accounts? Are there people on here that have multiple different broker accounts that you use? And then are you able to switch between your different accounts on MT5? No, not knowing how to switch them. Okay, hold on. I was just waiting for MT5 to load, but now I will share my screen here. You guys can see my MT5.
Yep. Yeah, I could see it.
Perfect. Just gonna make this chat smaller. Okay, so when you're on MT5 and you're logged into an account and you want to switch to a different account, you click on View and then click on Navigator, and then your Navigator panel will open over here on the left-hand side. And in your Navigator panel, there's an account section, and so you can press the plus button down so that you can see all the different accounts that you've logged into on your MT5, and you can switch from one account to another account just by clicking on one of those other accounts, and then it's going to pop up and ask you to log into it. And then you're just, it'll save your login, it'll save your password if you told it to, if you checked that box when you were logging into that account. Your password should be saved, and then you can just press OK, and it'll switch you from one account to another account. Okay, so whatever accounts you've logged into. Now let's say that I have logged into these accounts here right now, but let's say I open a new account with a different broker and I want to log into that account on MT5 as well. You do that by clicking on File and then Open an Account, and then here, right? So if I wanted to search for Fusion, I would type in Fusion here.
Teresa, your screen's not following.
Let's try this. Now, can you see the pop-up box, Dad?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so sorry, I'll just close this and open it again. So let's say you want to open, log into a new account. Then you're going to come up here and you're going to say File, and you're going to say Open an Account, and then a box is going to pop up, which you have to search for your broker's name. So let's just say I want to log into a Fusion account. Search for Fusion, press Enter, and then Fusion will show up on this list. And then I can say Next. And then down at the bottom, you're going to check the box for Connect with an existing trade account. And then you're going to log in with the information from that broker. So for example, like if you open a new MT5 account on Fusion, they're going to send you an email with your login, with your password, and it's going to tell you what server to choose as well. Some brokers have many servers, others just have a couple. And then you're going to press Finish, and you're going to log into that new account. When you log into a new account, you should hear a happy little MT5 sound that's like, I don't know, some sort of happy sound. But if you hear like an air clunking sound, it means that it didn't like something with your login or your password and you're not connected. Also, when you connect to a new account, you should hear some mail arriving to a mailbox, kind of like in the olden days with like Yahoo Mail, and you hear a sound of it landing in your inbox. That's how outdated MT5 is. It still makes mail sounds. So that's how you log into an account. Then once you're logged into that account, then again, you can toggle between them by going View and then Navigator, and then looking for the account section in here. And then you can press that open, and you can see the different accounts that you're logged into, and you can switch between them. Okay. Anyone have any questions about like the logging into an account part? Ron, did you have a question? Your hand's up. If you can't
sorry,
remember,
there you go. So when we talked about it last week, you had to go into Market Watch. So for instance, FTMO, the Market Watch is US30.cash. So then you had to go and you had to go to Market Watch, drag that over onto the screen to make it active. How do you bypass that?
you can't really, like if you're switching between two brokers and you're trying to look at US30 on those two brokers, if they have a different symbol, like if their symbol name isn't the same, there's not really a way to bypass it. You have to add the correct symbol back to your chart.
Okay, so for FTMO, it's US30 cash, and I use Fusion, so then it's US30. So then I just go in and drag it over, and away we go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I haven't found it, unless anyone else has found a shortcut for that. But personally, I haven't found a shortcut to help with that yet. Oh, there's that happy sound.
Okay, thanks.
Any place where I can find my password. So Brian, your broker, like if you don't know your password, the first place would be to go to your broker's website and then log in with that broker, and then you should have a list of all the different accounts that you have in the account section of that broker's website, and then you could either reset your password in there, or you could check your email. I mean, every broker that I've ever worked with, they always have sent me my login credentials via email when I first opened the account. So you might have it there via email as well. And then if you can't find it in either of those places, most brokers have 24-hour a day, 5-day a week online chat. I would just pop onto their online chat on their website and just tell them that you can't remember your password and get them to resend it to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
How to remove chart windows, how to drag stop loss, countdown. Okay, candle countdown. Okay. Okay, so let's go through a few of those things here. So we'll just kind of go on like a little bit of a general tour, but I don't want, like, I mostly want you guys to like ask questions and tell me kind of what you guys need, because I don't want to cover a whole bunch of stuff that you already know how to do, but I'll make sure to cover the stuff that we have in the chat box, questions that people have for sure. So for opening multiple charts, so this is a question I've had a lot actually this week. So I'm sure there's multiple ways to do it, but the way that I do it is I go up to view and I go to market watch. So I have one chart open here, and then now I have my market watch over here on the left-hand side. And I shrink the chart that I already have open. So do you see that up here at the top right-hand corner? There's a button that you can press to like minimize that chart on my screen. So I minimize it so that it's only taking up a little bit of space on my chart. And then I go to my market watch list and I find whatever pair it is that I'm wanting to add another chart of. And I click on that and I drag it over and I drop another one. So now I have two charts over here. Now, obviously this doesn't look very nice. And so to make them the same size, if you look up in your different tools that you have across the top of MT5, one of them looks like a window. So if you press that button, it arranges the windows so that they're not overlapping each other and fills all your chart space. Okay, now when that opened, it opened me to US 30 on the 1 hour time frame. If I didn't want to be on the 1 hour time frame, I can click on my time frames from up here in these tools up here, or I can right click anywhere black on my chart, come down about halfway down the list and it says time frames. And then this is a question I've been getting a lot lately, is how do you add the 3 minute, right? Because 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute are listed here. And up here, most people don't have the 3 minute unless they've already saved it up here. So you can come down and click on time frames, and then you have to go to minutes and pop out this secondary menu and then add the 3 minutes. Okay, so now we're on US 30 on a 3 minute chart.
So whenever we do that, we have to change our background, add our indicator. There's no way we can get another one like the one on your left where it's automatically all there. We have to go through all the steps. Is that correct?
Well, you can save it as a profile so that you can load the profile. So I've already saved a profile before. So now when I open this chart, instead of having to do all the steps, I can right click and then I can say, oh, actually it's not right click there. It's file and then profiles and then load. Saying it's already loaded, which is kind of weird because it's not. Okay, that worked. Hold on, I'm just going to try it the other way again. Sorry, this is working a little bit different than okay, because I guess I didn't have this one saved in that template before. So in my profile, I had only previously saved the 1 minute in there. I hadn't ever saved a secondary chart. So we'll just quickly make the secondary chart. So let's just say that you open it and it looks like this. and you want to get it back looking like with our indicators that we use. At first, yes, you're going to have to set everything up. So you come on here, there's some things that I don't like. So this is just a personal preference, but I don't like having a grid. So if I want to get rid of the grid, I can right click and I can click on grid, and then now the grid is gone. And then we want our EMAs added to this chart. So I can right click and I can say templates and then DeLorean with TDI. Now, is there anyone on here that doesn't have this indicator already saved on their computer? Because if you don't have that indicator, then I can get it for you and put it into the chat here. And I'm just going to remove. Okay, so now we have our EMAs, but we don't have the TDI yet. Okay, so the TDI is another file that you need from me or from somebody if you don't already have it yet. To get that file, if you've already installed it, this is how you do it. So you're going to come over, click on View, click on Navigator, and then again, you're going to get this list of all these different sections. And in your indicators section, there's going to be, it's called Traders Dynamic Index. You're going to click on this and you're going to drag it over to your chart. When you first drag it over, it's super important that you look at all these tabs before you press OK, because you have to press this button that says Allow Modification, because you need to be able to change this setting in the inputs. So in the inputs, this indicator is defaulted to 13. So you want to double click on the 13, change it to 21 so that your RSI period matches what we use. So super important that you change that. You can go to colors. Personally, I've never changed anything in the color section before. And then in levels, by default, it's defaulted to 32 and 68. We normally use 30 and 70. So you can change those. And then you can also add 40 and you can add 60. And if you want to, you could also add 20 and you can add 80. Okay, so like this is to your preference of what levels you want showing on here. You can add those. And then you also want to go to scale. And in scale, I like to check inherit scale. And then I like to first change these to 30 and 70 so that by default, it's not showing me the whole scale. It's only showing me from 30 to 70%. And that way it's a better view of the TDI. It's easier to read. And then I don't change anything in visualization. I just leave that the way that it normally was. And then I press OK. And so now we have a TDI loaded on the second half of our chart here. And once you have it the way that you want to, you can come up to File and you can say Profile and you can say Save As, and you could call this maybe like Boss Candle 1 minute, 3 minute. And then that way, if you ever lose your charts again and you need to reload them, you don't have to do all of this again. You can just like load that profile and not have to do all the steps all over again.
Teresa, on the time frames, there's another quick way to add like the 3 minute or whatever, 5 minute.
Yeah.
All you got to do is right hand click in your times. Okay, you know where 1 minute. Right hand click, go to customize, and then all you have to do is drag the three. See, you've already got 3 minutes, so you can put 6 minutes. You highlight it and hit insert. It'll put it in there and it'll come up into that bar.
Yes, exactly. Or you can just click on it and press insert, and then you can also sort them up and down so that you can choose what order they display in as well. So if I wanted to add the daily, I can click on daily, I can click insert, and then it showed the daily going not after the 4 hour, and I want it to be after the 4 hours, so I can just drag it down like this, or I could have pressed the down button to move it down and then press close. And now look up here. Now we have minute 1, minute 3, minute 5, 15, 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily.
That's compliments of my accountability buddy.
Good job, Dad. Yeah, most of these sections up here, if you right click on top of the section, then you can press customize, and you can change things to be the way that you want them to be. And like especially this one, if there's tools here that you feel like you want, you can right click on this section as well and go to customize. And then there's all sorts of different tools that you can add to your list. Or if there's ones that you have that you don't use, you could remove those from your list as well. So just try to, if you're ever trying to figure out how to do something on any of these like sections up here, right click, and then you'll get a customized list that you can look through. But yeah, thanks, Laurent. Very good tip. I'm just gonna go back to the chat for a second.
Just that little bit there was awesome. I didn't even realize I needed to know that, and now I got it figured out. And just going over the TDI and the charts thing there, your dad did show me, but I totally forgot. And then it came back like a bad dream, but I'm getting to know the MT5.
It'll all stick. Okay, so Stephanie, so the TDI settings that you want to change. So on the common tab, you have to check the little box. And then in the inputs, you want to change the value of the RSI period. It's going to be defaulted to 13, and you want to change it to 21. And then in levels, you can add more levels if you would like to. Like on this one, for example, I didn't have 80 or 20 added to them. So I can press add 80, press add 20. And then in scale, I like to have inherit scale checked so that as I change the size of my candles, that the TDI takes or like picks up the scale that I'm using on the candles. It gets inherited by the candles onto the TDI. So you want to have this box checked for inherit scale. And then also, if you want your TDI to be kind of like more zoomed in so that you're not showing all of the different levels, you can have it so that the minimum is maybe set at 30 and the maximum is set at 70. So you're not going to see 80, like you're not going to see from 70 up to 100 or from 30 down to 0, but it makes it so that your TDI is more zoomed in. And then you can press OK. And then it takes a second for it to reload, but then it reloads and it's very visible. Lots of people, when they first load the TDI is like really, really scrunched up and they can't see it and they don't know how to, they can't read it or use it very effectively. Some other things is on TradingView, your crosshair is always selected. You're kind of always on a crosshair. On MT5, by default, you're on one of these little, just like a regular mouse cursor arrow. I like to always have a crosshair selected. So you have to come up here and select your crosshair. And then when you have your crosshair, there's a lot of features about this that I really like. So when you're using a crosshair, whatever candle you have it on, then it's easy to look down at the bottom and you can read the date and the time of that candle. So it makes it much easier to tell somebody like, hey, go find me the 1541 candle, right? And they can move their crosshair and find that candle. So that's one advantage. This is also how you measure. There's no ruler on MT5 that I've seen anyways. So this is how you measure. So you have to have the crosshair selected and then you click one time and you hold it. So if you just click like I just did and you just click, it just goes away and switches back to the arrow. So you have to click and hold. So and then drag. So I'm holding down my mouse and then I'm dragging up so that I can measure. Okay, so practice this with your crosshair and make sure that you can figure out how to use it. It's going to be different depending on your mouse, depending on your trackpad, etc. But it should still be the same concept of clicking and then dragging so that you can measure. And when you're reading this bar, I'm going to try to get this somewhere that I can see it easily. So when you're reading this bar, the first line of information it's telling you is what price you have the crosshair sitting at. The second line of information is telling you how many bars you're measuring backwards. So like right now, this is 13 bars or 13 candles to the left. And then it tells you how many points you're measuring. So from where I clicked down to here, where I am right now, that's 711 pipettes. I know it says points, but it's not points. It's in pipettes. So you have to move the decimal 2 digits to the left, just like you would when you're looking at the spread. You know how when your spread says 150 or 180, that number is being displayed in pipettes, and you have to move the decimal 2 times to the left to get it into points. So like where I'm measuring right now, this is 7.11 points. And then the percentage at the end, I wouldn't worry about it for much. It's the percentage of change in price from where you're measuring to down to wherever you're, like from where you started down to where you're measuring. It's the percentage in the change of price, but there's really nothing that we would ever use that for. Okay, let me know if you guys are able to use that crosshair.
Where's the crosshair located? How do I turn that on?
Okay, so yes, if you don't have it, if it's not showing up in your tool section, then you're going to come up to view, and then you want to make sure that you have all of these checked. So make sure that under view and under toolbars, make sure that you have a check mark for standard, line studies, and time frames. And then under toolbars in that first menu, make sure you have status bar and charts bar all selected as well.
I do have all those selected.
And still not showing up.
Yeah, that's right.
Huh. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Oh, pardon me. It is floating. It's just floating in the bottom of my screen. Sorry, I found it.
Okay, yes. So sometimes these toolbars can be fixed into your chart, or they can be floating. And so if they're floating and you want to fix them, you have to drag them back up and drop them somewhere where you see one of these. Is this horizontal or vertical? Vertical. Where you see these vertical lines up here, drag that toolbox that's floating and then drop it close to one of these vertical lines, and it should snap back in so that it's inside of the toolbox. Okay, and then just a reminder that you can this whole section that has all these different tools, you can right click on this section, and then you can come to customize, and you can like reorder them or drag them however you want them to be, so that you can find them easily. Another cool tip that we learned recently is that if you have a mouse that has a wheel on it, if you click on the wheel, it switches you to the crosshair. Now I'm on a trackpad right now, so it's not going to work for me. But if you guys have a wheel on your mouse, you should be able to click on it, and it should switch you over to the crosshair. Let me know if that works for you guys.
Excellent.
The buy and sell button is up here in the top left-hand corner. There's this little tiny picture. Hopefully you can see where my mouse is circling right now. There's this little tiny picture. If you click on that, it disappears. And if you click on it, it comes back. So that's one way that you can turn it on or off. Another way that you can turn it on and off is you can right click anywhere on your chart. And then on this menu, 4 down from the bottom, you can click on one-click trading to turn it back on or off. Where do we get the TDI to load? Yes, I will. I'm going to give you guys a folder that has the TDI and the EMAs inside of it. I'll go grab it actually just right now.
Tracy, may I don't have the EMA one, but I have the TDI one already.
Yes, I'll give you both of them.
Teresa, Janie can only run on one time frame, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this first link in the chat is going to take you to the TDI file, and then I'm going to give you a second link in the chat that is going to take you to the EMA file. Now these files, they're in Google Drive. They do not, you don't open them. Okay, this is something that trips people up all the time. So when you open these, don't try to open them. They're programs that only open inside of MT5. So all you're going to do is download it to your computer somewhere that you know where it is, like into your downloads folder or onto your desktop or wherever you want to save it, or wherever your downloads go when you press download. But don't try to open it because it won't open. Okay, same with, lots of people get confused with this one because it looks like it's an audio file, and then they try to play the audio file or whatever, but it doesn't play. You just come up to the top right-hand corner and press download, and download it to your computer and save it somewhere that you know where it is. Okay, and then I'll show you. So once some of you give me some, let me know in the chat once you guys have those files and you have them downloaded to your computer. And once I know that you guys have them, then I will walk you through how to install them. Okay, so those are the files for the EMAs and the TDI. So you guys kind of work on that in the background and just let me know when you guys have those saved to your computer, and then I'll show you those steps. And I'm just going to scroll up and see what questions I missed up here. Moving chart window. Okay, dragging a stop loss. Okay, so when we're using MT5, there's a couple different ways to actually take a trade. So the first way to take a trade is just to come up here to your buy sell buttons up here and just to press buy or sell. Now, what's the risk of that? What's the risk of just pressing buy or sell up here?
If there's a sudden drop, you might get caught.
Right, because you're not putting in a stop loss. You're literally just pressing buy, pressing sell, and the only thing that's in is just that order. There's no stop loss, there's no take profit. Okay, so that's one way that you can execute a trade. Another way that you can execute a trade is to come up here where I'm circling and press new order, and then a box is going to pop up, and this is where you type in the information for the order that you want. On MT5, your lot size is referred to as volume. Okay, so right here where it says volume, this is where your lot size goes. Stop loss, this is where your stop loss is going to go. So if I was going to sell right now, then I want my stop loss to be above current market price. And if I'm selling, what price matters to me when I'm selling? The ask or the bid price?
The ask price.
The one on top.
Yes, the highest number. Yes, the one on top.
I'm like, which one is that? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're selling, then the higher number is more relevant to you. So you want to make sure that when you put in your stop loss that you're putting it higher than this number. So let's just say that I wanted to put in a 30-point stop loss. What would I type in for my stop loss here?
34664.
Yeah, 34664. Okay, so that's going to put my stop loss in at that price exactly when I execute the trade. Okay, and so if I press sell, now I'm in a trade. It gave me a green line. It tells me that I sold at that level, and I can see this green dashed line here. To see my stop loss, I've got to shrink the price bar a little bit because my stop loss is way up here. Okay, now if I wanted to drag this stop loss, this is very similar to Trading View. You just put your mouse over top of it, and when your mouse is in the right spot, then you'll get those little up and down arrows that you can see there, and it tells you that you can drag to modify. So if I wanted to drag this down, I could drag it down, and maybe I want to drop it here. Okay, so you literally can just click on it and drag it, but you can't drag it unless you're in the right position on the line so that you have those arrows that are pointing up and down. Okay, so pretty easy to drag and drop it. If you want to set a take profit right now, you come down to your entry line, and if we're selling, would our take profit be below this line or above this line?
Below.
Below, right? So you click on the line and you drag it down below, and you drop it where you want to put your take profit. Okay, so now I have a green line, which is my entry price, and I have a stop loss line, and I have a take profit line. Now, where would I go if I wanted to close this trade? How would I close it?
Myself, I just go off the bottom tab where I have the trade, and I can close it there, or I can bring my stop loss down close to the price and have it stop me out if I wanted to.
Right, so right now we don't have that box down at the bottom, so that's called a toolbox. And so to add that to our chart, we have to go to View, and then Toolbox, and then now we get this toolbox down here. And if I was in a trade, I click on the Trade tab, and now I can see my trade that's currently running. I can see that I'm oscillating between being in profit and in the negative, right? I can see what current price is. I can see where my take profit is set, where my stop loss is set. I can see the price that I entered the trade, the volume, etc. All this information is down here. If I wanted to close this trade, I can just press this X and it'll close the trade. Another way that I could close the trade is come back to that green dashed line that we had up here and click on the green line, and then a little menu pops up, and one of the options is to modify. So if I press modify, a box will open where I can change the stop loss. So let's just say I want to change it to be 47 instead of where it was, and I can press modify. So now my stop loss just moved down. Or if I go back to that green line again, I can right click on it, and then I could also press close to close the position, or I could also set an automatic trailing stop loss. Now, if you use 15 points or 10 points here, this is actually not a point. This is really, really, really small, and it's going to take you out in like 2 seconds. So you have to come to custom, and if I wanted to trail by 10, I have to type in 1,000. Okay, trailing by 10 is equal to 1,000 on US 30. So if I put that in and press OK, now when the trade starts to go into profit, my stop loss is automatically going to start trailing by 10 points. Okay. Another way I could modify my stop loss would be to come up to the stop loss line, right click on the stop loss line, and I can cancel my stop loss, which you probably shouldn't ever be doing. I could modify it, or I can close it, close the whole position, or I can trail my stop loss. So like the same menu pops up, whether you're on your stop loss line, your take profit line, or your entry line. You still get most of the same menu options. I'm just going to check the chat for any questions.
Yes, I have one, Teresa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you just move that box out of the
Yes.
way? So when you go over, so right now you're down $5.12. When I click on the X, just to the right of it,
Yeah.
it doesn't shoot me out. The box comes up again, and then I have to go back in, and at the bottom there's a yellow bar underneath sell by market, buy by market. I have to click that to cancel my trade. Is that correct?
Well, it's so it must be because the first time that you use the seller buy buttons or the first time that you press that button that you didn't agree to one-click trading. So now what you'll have to do is you'll have to come into tools
Okay,
and then
hold on there.
options.
Let me go tools. Yep. Options at the bottom. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, and then hold on a second because it's going to take me a minute to find it. I haven't had to do this for a while. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have the check mark for show trade levels, and then you want to make sure that you have it set to enable dragging of trade levels, or else you won't be able to drag and drop your stop loss or your take profit.
Okay, so you're in options right there,
Yeah,
and you're
options and then charts.
sorry, charts. Yeah, I'm in charts.
And then show trade levels.
Show trade levels. I got checked.
Yeah, and then make sure it's on enable dragging of trade levels.
Enable dragging of trade levels. Yes, it is.
Okay, good. And then somewhere in here should be something that gives us permission. Okay, here we go. So in the options box, go to trade and then make sure that you have one-click trading selected.
I don't.
Okay, yeah, so select that. And then you should not get that verification window every time.
Okay, so it has a disclaimer that came up. I have to accept the terms and conditions.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Boy, that was frustrating.
Yes, so it's probably just because you probably had that disclaimer window open when you were like really new to using MT5 and you probably like didn't agree to it. And so because you didn't agree to it, then your one-click trading wasn't turned on.
So that's why I couldn't drag my stop loss.
Yes, I think so.
Oh, thank you.
Teresa,
Yeah.
in the order one, what does fill or kill? What does that mean? Is it the same as cancel?
Yes. So fill or kill. Oh gosh, I looked this up one day, but I really don't remember. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. But I've always just had them on fill or kill. And when I read it one day, I was like, oh yeah, that's the one I want it to be, but I can't really remember the difference between the two of them now. One of them is more to do with like pending orders, I think, like buy stops and sell stops and different kind of orders that we don't typically use.
Okay, thanks. I'll get it figured out.
Okay, so somebody had asked in the chat what other ways there are to place an order. So we have the option of pressing like buy or sell on these buttons, the one-click trading buttons. You can also right-click anywhere on your chart that's black, and then you can pull up that menu, and second down in that menu is trading. And then on this menu, you can do new order, you can set a buy stop, you can set a sell limit, etc. So you can place an order from there as well. Or you can come up and press new order up in the toolbox up here, and then this new order panel will pop up here. So there's a few different ways that you can place an order. Now this is kind of for Janie customers only, but if you press these buttons up here to take a trade, is Janie going to take a screenshot of your trade?
Nope.
No.
If you're already in a trade and you try to load Janie, is Janie going to load?
Nope.
If you take a trade on your own outside of Janie or you disable algo trading, is Janie going to manage your trade for you?
No, but the question I have on that is if you make a movement and it goes for 1 minute, does Janie take the trade over and manage it?
If you take a trade and Janie's running and you take a trade with MT5, but Janie's already running, she will take over managing it. If you're already in a trade and you try to load Janie, she will not take over managing. Like Janie won't even let herself load.
Okay, so I got it figured out right. Thank you.
Okay, and then one more little Janie thing just while we're here. This toolbox down at the bottom for Janie customers, you always want to have view and then toolbox. You always want to have that open and you always want to have your experts tab open unless you're looking at something different. Like if you're going to go look at your trade, or you're going to go look at your history, or you're going to check the calendar, fine. But if you're not looking at one of these other tabs, you should always be on the experts tab, because this is where Janie talks to you and tells you everything that she's doing or thinking. Okay, so you should always have this open, and then at least have this box so that you can read like at least 2 lines of text that she's talking to you. Okay, like 2 or 3 lines down at the bottom. Okay, and then while we're here, we'll just quickly go through this. So again, this is, I'm going to close this and open it one more time. So to open this toolbox, you click on View and then Toolbox. And this is something you're probably going to always have open, because this is where you're going to see your trades. If you had a trade running, this is where you would see that trade running. If you wanted to see your history of your trades, then you click on History. If you want to see News, click on the News tab. That's different than the calendar, though. The economic calendar is different. This is the mailbox that I was talking about. So when you sign into your broker, you should instantly get some mail. That's kind of one of the ways you know you're connected. And then there's a calendar. So right now there's, see what time are we right now in? We are 6:41. Okay, so these times here, these are displayed in your broker's server time. So they're going to match the time that's on the bottom of your chart. So if you're not sure like what time it is right now, then just go look at the bottom of your chart and see what time it is. And then you match those times to these boxes. The ones that are like high impact are going to be ones that have a priority box that's red. I'm just trying to find one here. Let's see. Here we go. So this is an example of a high impact news on the calendar on MT5. Now, I still recommend checking the news on like My FX Book and Forex Factory, and not just using MT5's calendar, but you can look at the calendar tab here as well. Alerts, you can set alerts on MT5, which we'll cover in a minute. Different articles, I've never looked at that ever. Code base, I've never looked at that ever. Experts, this kind of only applies to somebody that's running an expert advisor like Janie. And then journal, this is going to keep a journal of everything that's happening on MT5, but it's kind of, most people don't really need to use this on a day-to-day basis. Okay, I'm going to go check the chat for any questions about that. So placing an order with the one-click trading, it very literally just like you press the button and then boom, you're in a trade. Like it's literally just like instant execution. You press sell and now you're in a sell. And so you can see your entry price right here. It got lit up in green and there's a green diagonal line. So if I pressed sell, now I'm in this trade, but I don't have a stop loss on. So if I wanted to add a stop loss, I would either have to right click and then go to modify and add a stop loss, or I can click on my entry line and then drag up. Okay, so that now I have a stop loss in place. And if I wanted to put a take profit in place, I can click on my entry line, drag down and drop a take profit. Now, unfortunately, they're both they're both red. I think you can change it though if you wanted to, because I don't really love that they're both red, because it makes it confusing. I don't really use a take profit very often, so I don't care that much. But if you do use a take profit, I would go in and edit your edit the color settings in your chart to make the take profit a different color, which you can do by right-clicking anywhere on your chart that's black and then going to properties down at the very bottom. And then in here, you can go to colors. And then, oh, actually, I think I've looked at this before. Stop levels and take profit levels are combined into the same category. I just remembered this. So you can't change the colors. They're just always red, which is really weird to me, but that's just the way it is. But you can come in here though, and you can edit the color of your background, the colors of your candles, the color of your grid, the colors of your your bid price line, ask price line, etc. You can modify a lot of stuff in here. You can keep track of what you want to show. So like show open, low, high, close. If you turn this off, then up at the top of your chart, you're not going to have the open, high, low, close prices of each candle. You can say show ticker or not show ticker. If you turn this off, it's not going to tell you what pair you're looking at on this chart. So I would leave that on. I would leave open, high, close on. I would leave your one-click trading buttons on. I would leave your bid and ask price on. Personally, I don't keep my last price line on because I have the ask and the bid anyways. Show period separators. This is going to separate your days of the week from each other. I would keep those on. Grid is a personal choice. Tick volume. If you turn on tick volume, you'll have these green bars across the bottom of your chart that shows you how many ticks there was in each candle. I don't normally have it on. Show real volume is going to show you the volume of ticks in each candle up at the top by your open, high, low, close numbers. I don't normally have that on. Show object descriptions. I don't normally have that on either. Just to me makes like it'll show you where you entered the trade, where you exited the trade, and the price between them. To me, it just makes the chart too busy. And if I wanted that information, I would just go look at my trade history. Show trade levels. This is going to keep your lines on your chart when you're in a trade. So if you don't have that checked, you're not going to see your entry line or your stop loss line or your take profit line. So I would leave that checked. And then show trade history. If you turn this off, then you don't get the arrows on your chart showing you your previous trades. So I would leave those on because it makes it a lot easier to go back and look at your previous trades if you can see where the arrows are. And there's always a line going from where you entered to where you exited for each trade so that it's easier to keep track of. And then in the common tab of the properties, you can choose if you want to be on a bar chart or a candlestick chart or a line chart. Typically we're on candlesticks. You can choose whether you want to have your, actually I don't even know what this means, chart on foreground. I have no idea what that means. If anyone knows what that means, feel free to let me know. These are important, and I'm going to talk about these in two different places, but this chart shift and chart auto scroll, these are two buttons that you can check in here, but they're up here, if you can see where I'm circling. Okay, up at the top, there's two little candles with an arrow and then two little candles with an arrow pointing the opposite direction. These, if you have them turned on, it forces the chart to shift to the left every time a new candle paints so that the candles don't start painting out of your screen. And then it also tells your chart like where to stop. And there's this really, really tiny little triangle. I don't know if you can see where I'm circling right now, but on your chart, there's this little tiny triangle where the chart kind of meets the toolbars. And I'm going to show you how this works in a second, but you can click on this triangle and you can drag it from side to side. And that's how you're telling MT5 where you want the candles to stop painting. And I'll show you a live example of that in a second. Actually, that's it in here for now. So I'm just going to press OK and get out of there. To get in there, just in case you missed how to get in there, you right click anywhere black on your chart and then go to properties. And that's how you get in that section. Okay, this is the triangle thing that I was talking about up at the top. So if I want my candles to come further to the right, I can drag this to the right, and now the candles are going to stop where this little triangle is. If I want the candles to stop in the middle of my chart, I can drag it to the middle, and now my candles will never go any further to the right than where that little arrow is. But if I uncheck these buttons up at the top, then the candles are just going to keep on painting and painting and painting, and eventually the new candles are going to be out of view. And if I have these checked, then another thing you need to know is you can't scroll back. So if you have them checked and you're trying to scroll back, it won't let you. So you have to make sure that you come up here and uncheck them so that you can scroll back in time. But typically for me, when I'm actually trading, I have both of these selected. And then I don't normally have my candles go that. I have them come further to the right-hand side. In case you just want to play with these buttons and get used to using these buttons. Another time that these buttons are really important is if you're trying to search for a previous candle time and you're trying to go back in time. If you have those selected, it won't work. So if somebody told me like, oh, I took a trade yesterday at this time and I want to go back and look at it, the way that you do that on MT5 is you press enter. When your mouse is anywhere over the chart down at the bottom, press enter. It's not working. What is happening? Okay, well, normally when I press enter, then down at the bottom, a box pops up. Oh, there it is. Okay, I guess it didn't want me to do it when I had that toolbox open. I've never, I feel like I've always been able to do that with the toolbox. Because I'm not in full screen. Okay, maybe. Okay, the toolbox appeared to be in the way. Okay, so you want to go back in time, click enter, and then down at the bottom, you have to type in a time and a date and a time, and it has to be formatted the correct way. So you might want to write this down, but it needs to be 2023.09 dot and then the date. So this is like 2023 September 13. And then if I wanted to go back to, let's just say 1023. Let's do 12 because we're not even there yet. Okay, and then you press enter. So it has to be 2023.09.12 space and then the hour colon the minute, and then press enter. And then your chart is supposed to take you back to that time. But right now, because I have these buttons pressed up at the top, it's not going to let me go. So I have to unclick that button so that I can go back to the end of to where I'm searching. So now if I press enter again, the time and the date that I searched for is going to auto populate. And now I can press enter. And now it takes me back to that time. So you can see at the bottom that now I'm on September 12th, but the candles, they're not necessarily in view, right? Because when you go back in time, compared to where you were zoomed in before, it might look different. So you might have to shrink your candles like this so you can get them back into view. And then it can be helpful to go get a vertical line and come draw a vertical line anywhere. And then you can move that vertical line to wherever the candle that you were looking for was. So I was looking for 1023. So I can click on this vertical. Come on, let me click on the line. Okay, just kidding. I can't click on the line. Okay, well, normally you can click on the line. Why? There we go. Click on the line. Okay. And then you can move it over to the candle you were looking for. So I was looking for the 1023 candle. But when it first finds your candle, when you go back in time like that, your candle is going to be all the way to the left of your chart. Okay, it's going to be all the way to the left to find that time.
Teresa, how do you put that little triangle up at the top again?
So the triangle comes when you have these little, where the candles with the arrows are up at the top where I'm circling. When those are on, then you get that triangle up at the top. When they're off, then there's no triangle up at the top.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Teresa?
Yes.
Every time I go and find the time, it goes there, but then it disappears within, say, 30 seconds. It comes back to present.
Yeah, so probably you have one of these boxes up here still pressed. You got to make sure that
I have one. Oh, both of them need to be? Okay.
Yeah, unpress both of them. And then it should let you go back in time and actually stay there.
Yep, it did.
I'm just going to go check the chat for more questions here. By using one-click in trading, you're able to get good entries. Yeah, I mean, your entry will be better because it'll be faster, but you just need to make sure you understand that there's no stop loss. And so there is a level of risk to that, because until you get that stop loss in place, you have a trade running with no stop loss. Any questions kind of about anything that we've been talking about just recently? Like, are you guys all able to go back in time and find a previous candle? Give me some thumbs up if you're thumbs up or thumbs down if you're able to do that. If you were able to draw a vertical line, and you can click on that vertical line and kind of drag it around so that you can read the time of different candles down at the bottom. It's nice because it lights it up in red down at the bottom, so you can be sure that you're looking at the right candle time.
Teresa, I need to get my indicators on my second chart.
Okay, yes.
I downloaded them, but I have them saved.
Yeah, we'll go do that right now.
Okay.
Okay, the vertical line, look up in your toolbox where your crosshair is, and then you should have a vertical line and a horizontal line. But if you don't, then you might have to right click here and then go to customize, and then look for them in this list, and then insert them over to the ones that you want. And you could get rid of things that you don't want. Like, I don't even know what an exquididant channel is, so I'm just going to get rid of that. I don't even know what it is. Okay, let's get you guys your indicators installed. So give me some thumbs up if everyone that wants to install their indicators, if you guys have them downloaded to your computer and you know where they are saved on your computer, give me some thumbs up. And if you don't, give me some thumbs down so we can help you before we start. Okay, so what we're going to do to install these indicators is you're going to come up and you're going to click on File, and then you're going to click on Open Data Folder, which is about halfway down the list. Okay, so File, Open Data Folder. And then on the left-hand side of this window that opened, you need to find where on your computer you saved them. Okay, so maybe you saved them on your desktop, maybe you saved them in your documents, maybe you save wherever you save them, you need to find that folder. And then once you've found that folder, you're going to find the files. So the first file that we're going to do, I'm hoping that somewhere on my really messy computer, there's one. Okay, let's do Traders Dynamic Index first. So you're going to find the file Traders Dynamic Index wherever you saved it on your computer, but in here, like in this box. And then you're going to right click on it and you're going to press copy. If you're on a Mac, that's the only way that you can do this if you're on a Mac. If you're on a PC, you can copy it from wherever it actually is. You can copy it and it'll still work. But if you're on a PC, you can do it from anywhere. If you're on a Mac, you very specifically need to copy it from in this box that's open. Okay, so you're going to right click on it, you're going to copy it. Then you're going to back up a window. In this window, you're going to back up a window until you get back to this main screen that we were first on, where on the right-hand side, you should see MQL5. Okay. And then you're going to go into the MQL5 folder. And then inside of that folder, you're going to go inside to the indicators folder. And then you're going to paste that file there. So you're going to right click and paste, or however you normally paste on your computer. And then once that's in there, you're going to back up again so that you're at the beginning where you can see your computer's files again. And then you're going to go into wherever you saved the things that you downloaded. and we're going to go look for the other one. So this time we need to go find the one that's called DeLorean with TDI. And we're going to go find that. And we're going to copy that one. And for some reason, my computer is being... Okay, hold on. I'm just going to close and reopen this box for a second. There we go. Okay, so then this time we're going to find the one that's called DeLorean. And we're going to copy that one. Now, for some reason, I don't think I actually have it on my desktop right now. So I'm just going to pretend, but yours is going to say DeLorean with TDI, but I'm just going to right click here and press copy, but you're going to right click and press copy on the one that says DeLorean that you just saved to your computer. And then you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to press one of these green arrows at the top so that you can back up a folder. And then you're going to go to MQL5. And this time you're going to go to Profiles and then Templates. And then you're going to paste it in here. Okay, you're going to paste it in there. Once you've done that, then you're going to restart your MT5 and reopen it. And once you guys have reopened your MT5, then give me another thumbs up in the chat so I know when everyone's MT5s are reopened. So you can save your charts as a profile so that they reopen, or you can, the indicators are now going to be saved as a template and the indicator will be in the indicator list, so you can just slide them over. But we'll work on the profile thing. I'm not really super proficient at it, but I know it's possible. I just haven't got
Did you say to save it as a profile under MQL5, but under the profile?
Yeah, MQL5 and then profiles and then templates. And then paste it.
So that means every time you open your MT5, both screens will come on. That'll be the default then?
Not necessarily. That's more like of saving a profile. Not what we're doing right now. We would have to create a profile to save it to open like that.
Okay.
We'll try that out at the end here and see. I haven't practiced it much, so I'll be a little bit rusty at it because I haven't done it much. Okay, does anyone have their MT5 restarted or still no? Oh, I hear a happy sound. Okay, if you guys need help, make sure to let me know because I don't see many thumbs up. So I don't want you guys sitting over there not asking questions if you're stuck somewhere. Oh, there we go. There's some thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so once you have your MT5 open again, now what you want to do is you want to come to one of your charts or your chart, and you want to right click anywhere that's black, and then halfway down the menu, click on templates, and you should now have one called DeLorean with TDI, and you're going to click on that and it should load your EMAs. It's not going to load your TDI yet, but it should load your EMAs.
Mine loaded my TDI also.
Michelle, is that because you have that magical unicorn TDI? Does it say overbought and oversold and everything?
No, it doesn't say that.
I have that one though.
Oh man!
Lucky you.
Yeah, what the heck?
I was going to say I would like that one too.
Well, we would all like it, but nobody knows how to get it. Just magical unicorns get it. Okay, did you guys give me some thumbs up if you have your EMAs now? you don't have EMAs, but you should, give me a thumbs down so that I know.
So how do we save it now that we have it?
It should just say, I mean, everyone keeps asking me this in like a way that sounds like yours disappears, but mine never goes anywhere. Like if I close MT5 and I reopen it, it's still here. But so are you saying that when you're closing and opening that it's disappearing for you?
I was just wondering because when I had my TDI up and I had it already saved to all the different added stuff that we did to it, and then I added of course the EMAs or whatever, and it got rid of the TDI, so I had to reload the TDI back in and rechange everything back to the way we had it. So I'm just scared if I touch anything else, it's gonna make something else disappear.
Huh.
Is there so there's no like save button like TradingView?
Well, there's this thing up here. If you go to File and then you go to Profiles and then you say Save As, you can save your whole chart layout the way that it is right now. You can save this whole thing as a profile, and it should theoretically save everything about it. It should save that you have 2 charts open. It should save your indicators. It should save all your settings, etc. But I've been having troubles getting mine to load like the way that I want it to. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, or if maybe it could be for me that I'm on a Mac and it could be a Mac issue. Like Mac and MT5 aren't particularly designed to work together. So it also just could be that issue, but let's play around with it. We'll get it all loaded here and we'll save you a profile, and then we'll see if we can get you to be able to reload it if you need to. Okay, so now we're going to add your TDI. So you're going to click on View. You're going to click on Navigator. It's going to open this Navigator panel over on the left-hand side. When you look in the Indicators section, you should now have at the very bottom of the indicator section, Traders Dynamic Index. And you should be able to click on it and drag it over and drop it on your chart. Now, I don't want to do it because if I do it, then I'll have to change all my all my settings again. I'm just going to open my existing saved settings, but it's going to look the same. So pretend that I was clicking on this and I was dragging it over and I was going to drop it anywhere on my chart. Then once it's there, then you guys should have a box that instantly popped up that looks like this. And these are the same settings that we talked about at the beginning. So you're going to go to the Common tab, make sure that it has a check mark. Go to Inputs, change the RSI period from 13 to 21 by double clicking on the 13, and then you can type and change it to 21. Then you're going to go to Levels, and you're going to add whatever levels you want there to be there. And then you're going to go to Scale, and you have a choice here whether you want to make the scale fixed to a certain level. So like I like to make mine fixed to 30 and 70. And then I like to press Inherit Scale and so that they're both checked like that. And then once I have those set, then I'm going to press OK. But I'll leave this box open in case anyone needs me to go back to a certain tab on here.
By clicking that Inherit Scale, what does that do out of curiosity?
It's like when you zoom the candles, then the TDI will match that view, match that zoomed level.
Okay, thanks.
Can you go back to inputs, Teresa?
Yes.
Oh, okay, 21. Close price 34. Is that the only thing that changes is the 21?
Yeah, 21. And then if you want in levels, you could add, like it probably only had 32 and 68 and 50. So yeah, you can edit them to be 30 and 70 instead of 32 and 68. And then if you want, you can add 40, 60, 80, and 20.
Okay.
Can you go back to scale for a second, Teresa?
Yep.
Okay, the scale percent is you have 50. Okay, I just wanted to check that.
And again, over time, like this is my preference of how I have it set. But over time, you know, like if you don't like it, then you might want to come in here and play like the people that I've learned MT5 with over the last year and a half or however long it's been now. Everything that we've learned has been by people playing around with things or maybe watching a YouTube video, and then there's always people being like, oh my gosh, did you know that you can do this? And we were like, what? How did we not know this for all this time? So, don't be scared to play around with things. I mean, I literally just learned within the last 2 weeks that I could see the open, high, low, close numbers of a candle down at the bottom of MT5. I was like, how did we not know this entire time?
Where do you see that?
When I get out of here, I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else have any TDI questions while I have this box open here?
Oh, wow. Why do I have so many? Oh, that's bad.
What's bad?
Well, I told you I already had the TDI.
Uh-huh.
And then I dragged it, so now I have 2 TDIs.
Okay, so if you have 2 TDIs and you only want 1 TDI.
Wow, so I have a lot of, it's like double vision. Wow.
So just right click anywhere on your chart that's black.
Yeah.
And then 5 down from the top of that list, it'll say indicator list. Click on that. And then you should get a list of indicators, and you can click on one of the extra TDIs and then delete it on the right.
Okay. Oh, wow. It's really scary.
Then you should be back in business.
Yeah.
Okay, how are you guys all doing? Give me some happy faces or thumbs up or whatever if you are doing okay.
So on that inherit scale thing there again, sorry, I don't see it. Nothing on my TDI changes.
Well, I mean, nothing will change.
Okay, yours is doing the same as what mine is doing then, just what you're doing.
Yeah, nothing changes unless you're zooming.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, like it doesn't work like, it's not like TradingView that when you drag the price feed up and down and like that it changes, and you can't do that on the TDI. There's no option to like manipulate the TDI on the percentage bar.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought it would do, and it didn't. That's what I was kind of, yeah. Okay,
No,
thank you.
It just doesn't see. I haven't personally found a way to do it. If it exists, I would love to know, but so far I don't know. Michelle, the open, high, low, close. So if you click on your crosshair and then you put your crosshair over a candle, look at the very, very bottom line, like totally bottom of your MT5, and it should tell you the date and time of the candle that you're on and the open, high, low, close price of that candle. Okay, and then on the TDI, if you're wanting to see what price is on the TDI, again, you can put your crosshair on top of, like where the green is, and then kind of try to read it. But it doesn't let you, like, how on TradingView you can put your crosshair back over previous candles to the left, and then the numbers change here so that you can see what price it was at on that candle. It doesn't do that on MT5. So you like, I don't know, hopefully that makes sense, but you can't like go back and like use the numbers up here. The numbers up here are always the current number. They don't change. But you can put your mouse specifically over a place on the TDI, and then one of these little post-it notes will pop up, and that will tell you what the price was at that time. But you got to be then very specific to make sure that you have your crosshair at the right spot that you're wanting to read price. So it's not quite, to me, as user-friendly as, well, I mean, this whole thing is not as user-friendly as TradingView. Nobody's trying to kid anyone here that this is in any way easier than TradingView. We probably wouldn't be doing this call if it was easier. Okay, another option that is handy for people is to click on View and then Data Window. And then as long as you have your mouse or your crosshair over somewhere on the chart, then you can read the information from this data window. And if you can kind of memorize the order of them a little bit, then you can end up kind of making this window skinnier so it takes up less of your chart space if you can kind of remember what each of these means without having to see the entire name. But that's another way that you can read all the data from each candle, is by having that data window open over here. So like if you're trailing your stop loss and you're wanting to know what price the yellow EMA closed at on the last candle, you put your mouse over the last candle, and then you can go over and you can read MA, right? Moving average 5. So the last candle closed at 34,637. And then you would know what trailing stop loss you would be trailing by. Okay, you can also see your spread over here. You can see the tick volume if you care about that. You can see the open, high, low, close, et cetera, I mean, all the different stuff that you might want to know. Okay, so to get into that again was view and then data window. Or you can also use these shortcuts like Control D if you're on a PC. All of these different things have shortcuts to open them. If you're on a Mac, then, well, now I did something I didn't want to do. Okay, good. I put it back. Okay, don't do Command D on a Mac. It pops out your pops out your chart. Totally weird. Okay, let me go back and look at the chat here and see if we have any questions. Any way to change color of TDI levels to match color of TDI lines?
You know, on TradingView, when you want to look at the values of the VB, they're in blue, and then your RSI is in green. Moving liquid is in yellow. You know, so those values match the line colors. Here with MT5, they're in white.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I've never seen any option to change the font colors of that section. Would be convenient, but colors, yeah, just the lines. I don't see anything to change the text colors. Okay. Yes, it is recorded, yes. What else do you guys want to cover?
This may not be part of it, but my Janie has like gone away. I can't seem to get her back onto my screen.
Do you have a trade running by accident? Like just like when we were playing around with things at all?
No, I did, but I've gotten out and back in so many times now thinking that was the problem. There's definitely no trade running.
Okay. When you look at when you click on view and then navigator, is Janie listed there under your expert advisors?
Hold on. Let's see. Yes.
Okay, and so then when you try to drag her over and drop her, what happens?
It pulls up the inputs screen.
Yeah.
And then I put in my license.
And what about the common tab? Are you remembering to go to common and check both of those boxes?
Yeah.
And you're on US 30, 1 minute.
And I've got the little hat, the graduation hat, but I don't have anything on the left. And yeah, I don't have anything on the left. Do you know any of the writing or anything?
Yeah, like the writing. Yes, I think I know why. I think Okay, at the very end, I'll get you to share your screen with me and I'll check something.
Okay, that's fine.
Any other things on MT5 that you guys want to cover? A lot of it is just going to be practicing it, right? And just using it and clicking on things, just like when we did that interactive workshop, right? And I kept on telling you guys at the end of every session, like, click on something new that you've never used before, right? Just really make sure that you're pressing on lots of things. If you go to help on MT5, then there is a whole bunch of video guides that you can watch on here. And there is a written, gosh, where is it? I've seen it before. There is a written, maybe it's in what's new. I think if you click on what's new, yeah, if you click on what's new, then it opens and it gives you like all this information about MT5. I mean, it's a lot and it's probably like stuff that you don't even like need to know, but just don't be scared to click on things and, you know, try to find different information. No. Sorry,
I have a question,
stairs.
Teresa.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just when you press new order and then it comes up and you can put in your stop loss, and you were talking about if you were going to press, or if you were in a sell and those big numbers on the bottom just above the sell by market and the buy by market.
Yeah.
So if you're going to sell, you said to use the bigger number. Is that always going to be the number on the right-hand side?
Yes, the bigger number will always be on the right-hand side, yes.
Okay. And is that the ask then, or is that the bid?
Is MT5 inverse of each other? Sell, buy, bid, ask. It should be bid and then ask. So yes, the ask.
Okay, so that would be ask and that would be the sell. And so, yeah, because that makes it easy to add 30 points into the stop loss if you do it manually then.
Yes, because you can just read the numbers from right there, yeah.
And so if we were going to press buy, it would just use the number on the left.
But just to be clear, remember, we're not actually using a 30-point stop loss in every trade, right? We're using 30 points to calculate our lot size.
Yeah.
But the trade, the stop loss needs to be put at a certain place, right? Like the fractal. So you could temporarily put in a 30-point stop loss while you're taking the trade, and then go drag your stop loss to where it actually should be. But that way, at least you have a stop loss in place.
Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.
But yeah,
and where are you going to post this recording?
So it'll get posted in the same, like all the live trading calls from the morning, right above the blue button that you press to go into the live trading call. All the recordings get posted up there. So it'll go up there, and then I'll download it from there, and then I'll add it to the course that comes with live trading.
Okay.
As well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Teresa?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where, can you tell me again the scale on the TDI? Mine keeps shifting for some reason.
So you're already in the scale?
Yeah.
So mine, I have it set so that it's on, that inherit scale is checked. And then I have fixed minimum and fixed maximum checked at 30 and 70.
Yeah. It's funny, every time I do that and then everything grays out, like yours stays white.
So you might have to uncheck inherit scale and then change the fixed minimum and fixed maximum and then press inherit scale again.
Yeah, no, I can do it, but mine, okay. Yeah, and then it went gray. Everything goes gray. Okay.
Mine goes gray too. Once I press inherit scale the last time, everything does go gray.
Okay. And the inputs again is 21 is the only thing you change on that one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So one thing I did notice that I thought I would share is when switching between accounts, it does work to save the profile, and you can just load the profile, but you have to drag in the US 30 symbol. And then it'll
Yeah.
populate with the DeLorean EMAs. But the TDI, you always have to reset it. The TDI will always go back to its like normal levels. So I guess that's just something I'll have to manually change when I change accounts.
Okay, so like it automatically. Oh, and then the other thing is that you can resave the file. So like when you're in the TDI settings and you have it open, you can press save here, and then you can name it something like name it like TDI after you've changed it to 21, and then you can reload that TDI into like now you can press or you can click on it, press properties, and now you can say load, and you can load those settings that you saved into it so that you don't have to change it all the time.
That's perfect. Okay, awesome.
A little bit more complex, but also I somehow still have these indicators of fractals, but I can't. It's so weird. Like I have the indicator, but the indicator is not showing up in my indicator list for me to tell you the name of the indicator. So I don't know if it's like not available anymore, and so now it's not telling me the name of it, or like why is this not showing me? Where is this from? Did I turn it on in here somehow? Anyway, somehow I got fractals, but I'm not sure how I swear it used to show up in my list of indicators. I seen fractals in here, and now I don't anymore. But there's something called the MQL5 store. And inside the MQL5 store, you can find indicators. So like people were saying, some examples are like, oh, like I'd like a fractal indicator, or I would like a countdown timer indicator. So in that MQL5 store, you can go in there, and there's some things that are free and there's some things that aren't free. But you can find different indicators, or also just go to Google and just search like MT5 countdown timer or MT5 fractal indicator, just and search for it on Google, and then you can find different things that you can buy. And you'll have to make an account with this. So this is what the MQL5 website looks like. And in here, there's indicators. And then you can search for whatever it is that you want. So like candle, countdown, timer. We used to have one that we were using, but it was making MT5 like run really slow. Like it was too old. Somebody on here has a really good one. Brian, is it you or Stan that across the top of your MT5 that you have a countdown timer for like every different time frame?
Yeah, it's Stan. I'm
Yeah.
not sure which one he's using though.
Yeah. So, but if you just come search for timer in here, like here's one that's free, for example, candle timer countdown. So this is a free one that you could download and install and try. It'll come with some instructions on how to install it. People that have Janie, you already have a countdown timer, right? So you don't need this, and you don't need a fractal indicator because that's built into Janie. So there's some stuff that I haven't spent a lot of time looking for because we already coded it into our own program, and so I haven't needed it. But if you want some stuff like that and you don't, you're not ready for Janie yet, or whatever, you're just not interested, which is totally fine. Just come in here, search for timer, and just try out some of these different indicators. And same for fractals. You can come in here and search for fractals and see what indicators you can find that you can add to your chart to mark you with where the fractals are. And then also, a lot of people, when they first start using MT5, they are mostly doing everything on TradingView except for like actually pressing buy and sell. Like they're taking the trades on desktop MT5, but everything else, all their markups and everything like that, they're still doing it on on TradingView. All right, guys, let me know if anyone has any questions here before we wrap up for the night.
No, just thank you so much, and nothing but impressed with your knowledge. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
If you have time, okay, so if I did a custom TDI file and it's saved onto my computer, how do I get that back into the Navigator tab?
So it's not going to be into the Navigator tab. Like you're going to still look, you're still going to drag the TDI from the indicator section.
Yeah.
And then once you've drug it across, then in the input section, you'll press the load button to load that saved settings file that you saved.
So you drag it into the the chart body?
Yeah, drag it over to your chart just like you normally would.
Okay.
And then go to inputs and then press load and then find that file that you saved.
Okay, I'll give that a whirl anyways. Okay, thanks.
And yeah, the thing that I'm not sure about with doing that too is I'm not sure if it's gonna it's gonna save the inputs for sure, but I'm not sure if it's gonna save, for example, the levels. Because
Right.
it's only on this inputs tab that it has this save and load button. And so I'm just unsure if it's gonna save everything.
Okay, well, I'll experiment with it. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Teresa.
Hey.
So for the colors, I think I was playing around with it, and if you could bring it up, you go to colors and you double click on the color itself.
Colors, double click on the color.
The little box.
Maybe it works better on a PC than a Mac, because on a Mac nothing happens for me when I click on the colors. Yeah, it doesn't. Nothing happens for me.
Yeah, it does pop up like she said. Thank you. That's awesome.
Oh, you lucky little PC users. Every once in a while I consider switching, but it only lasts a couple moments.
Cindy's nothing but like what you are there, the Mac stuff, except her laptop. Then she goes back to the normal.
All right, guys. Well, that will be it for tonight, and we will see most of you tomorrow morning. And thanks for coming.